At number 10, we've got Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Nintendo's big 2020 compilation that brought three of Mario's most iconic 3D adventures onto one cartridge for the Switch: Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. On paper, this was a dream package. You're talking about some of the most influential and beloved platformers in history, now playable in HD and on a modern console. Each game got an upscaled resolution: 64 runs in 720p, Sunshine jumps to a crisp 1080p in docked mode, and Galaxy looks gorgeous in both docked and handheld, with motion controls adapted for the Joy-Cons or touch input in handheld mode. Now, in terms of changes, this wasn't a full-blown remaster situation. The visuals are mostly untouched aside from the resolution boost, and there are some small quality-of-life updates like widescreen support for Sunshine and improved button prompts that reflect the Switch controller. For a lot of people, that was enough. It's three classics in one package, running better than ever, and it gave newer fans an easy way to experience games they may have missed. That said, 3D All-Stars wasn't without controversy. Nintendo made the baffling decision to release it as a limited-time product, both physically and digitally, meaning if you didn't buy it by March 31st, 2021, it was gone from the eShop. That rubbed a lot of players the wrong way, especially since these games could have easily been available permanently. There was also criticism about how minimal the updates were. Some fans expected remastered textures or even gameplay tweaks, but Nintendo went for a more preservation-focused approach. Still, if you manage to grab it, this is one of the easiest ways to revisit these three landmark games without digging out older hardware. Mario 64 for the history, Sunshine for its tropical charm and unique gameplay, and Galaxy for its mind-bending level design, all in one neat little package. It might not be the most ambitious Mario release, but as a collection, it's hard to beat for pure value and nostalgia. Coming in at number 9, we've got Super Mario 64 DS, Nintendo's ambitious remake of the N64 classic, released alongside the Nintendo DS back in 2004. This wasn't just a straight port. Nintendo went all in on reimagining their revolutionary 3D platformer for a brand new handheld. Right away, the most obvious change is the graphics. Textures are sharper, models are more detailed, and overall, the game has a cleaner look compared to the 1996 original. But the biggest twist, you don't just play as Mario this time. Super Mario 64 DS introduces 4 playable characters: Mario, Luigi, Wario, and even Yoshi. Each one comes with their own unique abilities. Luigi can jump higher and run faster, Wario can break certain blocks with his brute strength, and Yoshi can eat enemies and flutter jump, which is a fun twist for platforming. You start the game as Yoshi, actually, and have to rescue the other 3 from Bowser's clutches before unlocking the full roster. This adds a whole new layer of replayability, since some stars are only accessible with specific characters. Nintendo also expanded the game's content in a big way. There are 30 extra power stars, bringing the total from 120 to 150, along with brand new stages, altered missions, and redesigned layouts for some areas. On top of that, they added a bunch of touchscreen-based minigames, everything from card matching to slide puzzles to frantic coin-catching challenges. These weren't just throwaway extras. For a lot of players, they were addictive little side distractions that made the game even more replayable. Now, not everything about Mario 64 DS was universally loved. The DS didn't have an analog stick at launch, which meant controlling a fully 3D Mario game relied on the D-pad or the touchscreen thumb strap. Yes, that was a real accessory. While the touchscreen control option let you simulate analog movement, it wasn't exactly comfortable for long play sessions, and the lack of precise stick control made platforming feel clunkier compared to the N64 version. Still, despite the control quirks, Super Mario 64 DS stands out as one of the most content-rich remakes Nintendo has ever made. It took a beloved classic, expanded it in almost every way, and introduced it to a new generation of players on a portable system. If you can get past the controls, it's one of the most interesting alternate takes on Mario's first 3D outing. At number 8, we have Super Mario 3D Land, a game that sits in this really interesting middle ground between the traditional 2D Mario platformers and the more open-ended 3D entries. Released in 2011 for the Nintendo 3DS, it was one of the first big must-have titles for the handheld and a showcase for what the system could do, especially when it came to its glasses-free stereoscopic 3D effect. Nintendo specifically designed this game to take advantage of that feature. Many levels use depth perception tricks to help you judge jumps, dodge obstacles, and even navigate optical illusions. Playing with the 3D slider cranked up wasn't just a gimmick. It genuinely helped with platforming precision. The core gameplay here is a clever blend of styles. The levels are laid out in a more linear A to B fashion, similar to the 2D Mario games, but you still have full 3D movement like in Super Mario 64 or Galaxy. This design choice made 3D Land very approachable. You didn't have to worry about wandering huge sandbox worlds to hunt for objectives. Instead, you were running through bite-sized courses that could be completed in just a few minutes. That made it perfect for portable play. One of the biggest throwbacks in 3D Land was the return of the Super Leaf, making its first appearance in a 3D Mario game. This power-up gave Mario the Tanuki suit, letting him glide slowly down from jumps and swing his tail to attack enemies. It added a nice layer of precision and style to platforming, and the nostalgia factor from its Super Mario Bros. 3 Origins didn't hurt either. While the main set of levels is fairly straightforward, 3D Land hides a surprising amount of challenge in its second half. After you beat the game once, a set of special worlds unlock, remixing existing stages with harder enemy layouts, tighter time limits, and new twists like Shadow Mario chases. This doubled the amount of content and gave veterans something to chew on after breezing through the early game. That said, Super Mario 3D Land is definitely more linear than most 3D Mario titles. You won't find massive open exploration here. It's more about precision platforming through cleverly designed obstacle courses. Some fans missed the freedom of 64 or Galaxy, but others loved the fast, focused level design. In the end, Super Mario 3D Land carved out its own identity. It's not quite 2D Mario, not quite full-on 3D Mario, but a polished hybrid that played to the strengths of the 3DS. It showed Nintendo could still innovate with the formula, even in a portable-friendly format. At number 7, we've got Super Mario 3D World, originally released for the Wii U in 2013 and later ported to the Switch in 2021. This one took the linear but 3D style of Super Mario 3D Land and expanded it into a full console experience, with an even bigger emphasis on multiplayer fun. Instead of huge open sandbox worlds, you get tightly crafted obstacle course-style levels with a fixed isometric-style camera angle. It's not about wandering around and exploring. It's about precision platforming, teamwork, and maybe just a little bit of sabotaging your friends along the way. The game supports up to 4 players at once, letting you choose between Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad, each with their own distinct abilities. Mario is the balanced all-rounder. Luigi jumps higher but slips more, Peach can float briefly in midair, and Toad runs the fastest. This immediately adds replay value because the character you pick can completely change how you approach a stage. And yes, there's also an unlockable 5th character for dedicated players, which I won't spoil here, but fans of Super Mario Bros. 2 might have a good guess. One of the most memorable additions in 3D World was the Super Bell power-up, which transforms your character into a cat. This wasn't just a cosmetic gimmick. Cat Mario, or Cat Peach, Cat Luigi, Cat Toad, can climb up walls, scratch enemies, and even pounce across gaps. It completely changes how you move through levels, and Nintendo designed many stages to take full advantage of it. Alongside the Super Bell, you've got other returning power-ups like the Double Cherry, which duplicates your character and lets you control multiple copies at once, a mechanic that's as chaotic as it sounds, especially in multiplayer. The level design is where 3D World really shines. Each course feels like it's built around a single idea, whether it's moving platforms, a new enemy type, or a clever environmental gimmick, and then pushes that idea in fun, unexpected ways. From brightly colored grasslands to eerie ghost houses to massive rolling snowballs, it's a game that constantly surprises you. And because each level is relatively short, you're never stuck on the same concept for too long. When the game came to the Switch in 2021, Nintendo didn't just copy and paste it over. They made some noticeable tweaks. Movement speed was increased across the board, making the gameplay feel snappier and more fluid. The port also included Bowser's Fury, an entirely separate open-world-style Mario adventure that felt like a proof of concept for where the series might go next. It's essentially a big, interconnected map where you collect cat shines while a giant kaiju-sized Bowser periodically attacks. But that's a story for its own spot on this list. Super Mario 3D World might not offer the sprawling freedom of Odyssey or Galaxy, but what it delivers is pure, concentrated platforming joy. It's colorful, creative, and perfect for couch co-op. Though, depending on your friends, it can also be a perfect recipe for chaos. At number 6, we've got Bowser's Fury, one of the most unique experiments Nintendo has ever done with the Mario series. Released in 2021 as a bonus mode bundled with the Switch port of Super Mario 3D World, it's essentially a short but dense open-world Mario adventure, and it feels like a test run for what the future of 3D Mario could look like. The setup is simple. Mario finds himself in a chain of interconnected islands, all themed around cats. Seriously, everything has cat ears, from trees to enemies to clouds. Your goal is to collect cat shines which function like the power stars or moons from previous games, and use them to unlock access to new areas and eventually calm down Bowser, who, by the way, is not his usual grumpy self here. Instead, he's transformed into a towering, Godzilla-sized Fury Bowser, and when he shows up, things get chaotic fast. Fury Bowser appears periodically during your adventure, usually every few minutes, and when he does, the sky turns black, heavy rain pours down, and the music kicks into overdrive. He'll blast fire beams, throw down giant spikes, and generally make life miserable while you're trying to platform. It's intense, but also strategic. Sometimes his attacks can help you uncover hidden paths or break obstacles you can't destroy yourself. The only way to send him packing temporarily is to grab a cat shine, which triggers a sunrise and makes him retreat, or to power up into Giga Cat Mario, a massive superpowered form that lets you go head-to-head with him in cinematic boss battles. One of the most refreshing parts of Bowser's Fury is how seamless everything feels. There's no hub world or loading screens between levels. It's one continuous map that you can explore at your own pace, and challenges are scattered naturally across the environment. Some cat shines are straightforward, reach the goal missions, others are hidden collectibles, timed obstacle courses, or mini-boss fights. It's a structure that feels inspired by Super Mario Odyssey's freedom, but with the bite-sized accessibility of traditional Mario levels. You're not alone on this adventure either. Bowser Jr. tags along, armed with his paintbrush from Super Mario Sunshine. He can help you fight enemies, grab coins, or uncover secrets. In single player, he's AI controlled and can be set to help a little or a lot, and in co-op, a second player can take over, though it's more of a support role than a full second character. Yes, Bowser's Fury is short. You can beat the main goal in about 4 to 6 hours, but it's packed with creativity and feels like a glimpse into the next evolution of 3D Mario. It takes the series' tight, polished platforming and drops it into an open-world framework that works shockingly well. If this is a taste of what's to come, then Mario's future is looking very, very bright. And maybe just a little bit furry. At number 5, we have Super Mario Sunshine, released for the Nintendo GameCube in 2002. And to this day, it's one of the most distinct and polarizing 3D Mario games ever made. Instead of the usual Mushroom Kingdom backdrop, Mario is whisked away to the sun-soaked paradise of Isle Delfino, a tropical island filled with palm trees, sandy beaches, and brightly painted towns. It's a striking departure in tone and style. This is the only mainline Mario game with a single, unified setting rather than a collection of wildly different worlds. But Sunshine isn't just different in its location. It completely changes how you move and interact with the world, thanks to the Flood, a water-powered backpack Mario straps on early in the game. Flood can spray water to clean up goop and defeat enemies, hover in the air for extra hang time, rocket Mario high into the sky, or blast him forward at high speed. It's not just a gimmick. FLUDD is at the core of almost every challenge, adding an extra layer of precision and creativity to platforming. Learning to master FLUDD's different nozzles is half the fun, and pulling off tricky maneuvers with it is incredibly satisfying. The game's structure is similar to Super Mario 64. You enter large, open-ended levels, here called episodes, and complete specific missions to earn shine sprites. Levels range from relaxing beach resorts to dangerous volcano caves, each full of secrets, hidden blue coins, and environmental hazards. And while the setting is cohesive, the level variety comes from the types of challenges you face. From herding runaway creatures into pens, to riding roller coasters while sniping targets, to high-wire tightrope walking over dizzying drops. But where Sunshine gets really interesting is in its difficulty. Every so often, FLUDD gets taken away for special, secret missions. Pure platforming obstacle courses floating in a void, where it's just you, Mario's standard moveset, and some of the toughest jumps in the series. These stages are notorious for their precision requirements and unforgiving design, and for many players, they're the highlight of the game. For others, they're controller-throwing frustration. And that brings us to Sunshine's divisive elements. The infamous blue coin hunts, collecting 240 hidden blue coins scattered across the island, are required to 100% complete the game, and tracking them down can feel more like a tedious scavenger hunt than a platforming challenge. There are also some sudden difficulty spikes, awkward camera moments, and a few missions that can feel unfair. These quirks have made Sunshine a bit of a love-it-or-hate-it entry in the Mario canon. Still, even with its flaws, Super Mario Sunshine has a charm that's never been replicated. The warm, vacation-like atmosphere, the relaxing steel drum soundtrack, and the way Isle Delfino feels like a living, breathing place all help it stand out. It's a game with a unique personality, and for fans who clicked with its style, it remains one of the most memorable adventures Mario has ever had. At number 4, we've got the one that started it all. Super Mario 64, released in 1996 for the Nintendo 64. This wasn't just another Mario game, it was a turning point for the entire industry. Before Mario 64, 3D platforming was still an unproven concept. Moving from the flat, side-scrolling worlds of the NES and SNES into a fully three-dimensional space was a huge leap, and Nintendo nailed it on their very first try. The game opens with something simple but revolutionary. You're dropped into Princess Peach's castle grounds with no time limit, no enemies chasing you, and no set path forward. You can just run around, climb trees, swim in the moat, or do triple jumps off the castle walls. It was an early showcase of freedom in a 3D world, and for a lot of players in 1996, it was mind-blowing. The castle acts as a hub world, with different rooms leading to magical paintings that serve as entrances to the game's courses. Each world offers multiple missions, called Power Star Challenges, and you don't have to collect them in strict order. You might go in to defeat a boss, but along the way, you could discover a hidden star or find enough coins to earn another one entirely by accident. That non-linear design was rare at the time and gave players the sense that they were truly exploring, not just following instructions. The controls were a huge part of why Mario 64 worked so well. Using the N64's then revolutionary analog stick, Mario could walk, run, tiptoe, crawl, swim, and pull off a huge variety of jumps. Backflips, wall kicks, long jumps, and more. For the mid-90s, this was insanely fluid and precise. Yes, by today's standards, the camera can be a little stubborn and the movement slightly slippery, but at the time, it felt like magic. The worlds themselves are packed with variety. From the grassy slopes of Bob-omb Battlefield to the shifting sands of Shifting Sand Land, to the eerie, waterlogged halls of Dire Dire Docks. Each one has its own hazards, shortcuts, and personality. And then there are the memorable boss encounters, including the iconic Bowser battles where you have to grab his tail and swing him into bombs. That mechanic alone became a defining memory for an entire generation of players. Super Mario 64 didn't just pioneer 3D platforming, it set the gold standard for how 3D movement and exploration should feel. Its influence can be seen in countless games that followed, from Banjo-Kazooie to modern open-world adventures. Even now, speedrunners and casual players alike still find new ways to push its physics and discover hidden tricks, which is a testament to how deep and flexible its design really was. Simply put, Super Mario 64 isn't just a game, it's gaming history. And while later Mario titles would refine and expand on its formula, this is where the 3D era truly began. At number 3, we have Super Mario Galaxy, released for the Wii in 2007, a game that took Mario into literal, uncharted territory, outer space. By this point, Mario had already conquered the Mushroom Kingdom, explored tropical islands, and jumped through magical paintings. But Galaxy redefined what a 3D platformer could be by breaking one of its most basic rules: gravity. Instead of the usual flat landscapes or large, open fields, Galaxy drops Mario onto dozens of tiny spherical planets, asteroids, and space stations, each with their own gravitational pull. You can run completely around these planetoids, upside down, sideways, whatever the shape allows, and the game's camera smoothly adjusts to keep you oriented. It's the kind of mechanic that could have been disorienting, but Nintendo's level design and intuitive controls make it feel natural and exhilarating. This wasn't just a neat gimmick, it completely transformed how you think about movement and platforming. The story kicks off with a grand cinematic opening at the Star Festival, where Bowser literally lifts Princess Peach's castle into space using a fleet of airships. Mario is sent hurtling across the galaxy and rescued by a mysterious new character, Rosalina, the serene caretaker of the Comet Observatory. The observatory serves as your hub world, and from there, you can travel to a variety of domes, each acting as a gateway to new galaxies filled with unique challenges. Rosalina herself became a breakout star, quickly becoming a fan favorite and even joining the Mario Kart and Smash Bros. Rosters in later years. Each galaxy is like its own self-contained playground, built around a central idea or gimmick. One might have you skating on frozen planets, another could send you gliding through space on manta rays, while another might be filled with shifting gravity fields that flip the entire stage upside down. The variety is staggering, and because each planet is relatively small, the game keeps throwing fresh ideas at you without ever dragging them out. And then there's the presentation. Super Mario Galaxy was the first Mario game to feature a full orchestral soundtrack, and it completely changes the tone. Sweeping strings and triumphant brass accompany your journey, making every moment feel grand and adventurous. Whether it's the majestic Dusty Garden Galaxy theme or the tense music during a Bowser showdown, the soundtrack elevates the whole experience to something almost cinematic. The Wii's motion controls are also integrated in clever ways. You use the Wii Remote's pointer to collect star bits on screen while moving Mario with the nunchuck's analog stick. And certain power-ups, like the B-suit or the Boo suit, mix traditional platforming with light motion-based actions. It's a reminder of how Nintendo designs control schemes around the hardware without letting it overwhelm the gameplay. Super Mario Galaxy was widely praised upon release for its creativity, level design, and sheer sense of wonder. It managed to be both accessible to casual players and challenging for veterans, all while feeling unlike any Mario game before it. Even today, it's considered one of the greatest platformers ever made, and it set the stage for its equally beloved sequel. At number 2, we have Super Mario Galaxy 2, released for the Wii in 2010. A sequel that took everything people loved about the original Galaxy and cranked it up to 11. While the first game was already a masterpiece of creativity and platforming, Galaxy 2 strips away most of the narrative setup, trims the hub world down to something quick and functional, and focuses almost entirely on delivering some of the most inventive and challenging levels in Mario history. This time, instead of Rosalina's sprawling Comet Observatory, your hub is Starship Mario, a small Mario-shaped planetoid you can explore between missions. It's more of a quick stop than a full hangout space, which means you spend less time wandering a hub and more time diving into galaxies. That decision alone gives Galaxy 2 a faster pace than its predecessor, and it reinforces the game's pure gameplay-first mentality. One of the biggest additions in Galaxy 2 is the return of Yoshi to the 3D Mario scene. And he's not just a nostalgia nod, his abilities are fully integrated into the level design. Yoshi can flutter jump for extra height, eat enemies, and use his tongue to swing across gaps or grab distant objects. Certain berries even give him temporary powers. Red berries let him spit fireballs, blue ones inflate him like a balloon so he can float upward, and dash peppers send him sprinting at breakneck speeds. Many stages are built specifically around these abilities, giving Yoshi-focused levels a completely different flavor from the rest of the game. Galaxy 2 also introduces new power-ups for Mario himself, like the Cloud Flower, which lets you create temporary cloud platforms in midair, and the Rock Mushroom, which turns Mario into a rolling boulder capable of smashing through obstacles. These aren't just tacked-on gimmicks. The designers use them in increasingly creative ways as you progress, often combining them with the game's gravity-bending environments to keep you on your toes. Speaking of progression, the difficulty curve in Galaxy 2 is noticeably steeper than in the first game. While the early galaxies are still friendly and accessible, the later stages, especially the optional Prankster Comet challenges, will push your platforming skills to the limit. And for those who really want to prove themselves, the game features the legendary Grandmaster Galaxy, an endgame gauntlet that demands absolute precision and mastery of every mechanic you've learned. It's infamous for a reason. Visually and musically, Galaxy 2 continues the high standards of the first game, with gorgeous, colorful worlds and another sweeping orchestral soundtrack. In fact, many fans consider this one of the best soundtracks in the entire Mario franchise, with themes like Cloudy Court Galaxy and Throwback Galaxy, a loving remake of Super Mario 64's Whump's Fortress, standing out as instant classics. While Galaxy 2 doesn't have quite the same sense of narrative wonder as the original, Rosalina's role is minimal here. It more than makes up for it with tighter pacing, sharper level design, and an endless well of ideas. Every galaxy feels like it's been refined to perfection, and there's almost no filler. For many players, this isn't just the best Mario game. It's one of the greatest platformers of all time, period. Taking the top spot is Super Mario Odyssey, released for the Nintendo Switch in 2017. A game that brought Mario back to the open-ended, sandbox-style exploration of Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, but blew the concept wide open in scale, creativity, and freedom. This isn't just a platformer, it's a globe-trotting adventure that feels like a celebration of everything Mario has been over the last 3 decades. The game kicks off with Bowser, dressed to the nines in a white wedding suit, kidnapping Princess Peach with plans to marry her. In the chaos, Mario meets Cappy, a sentient ghost-like hat whose sister has also been taken by Bowser. Teaming up, Mario and Cappy set out aboard an airship called the Odyssey, traveling from kingdom to kingdom to collect power moons and chase down Bowser before the big wedding. The real magic here is in the possession mechanic, or as Nintendo calls it, capture. By throwing Cappy at enemies, objects, and even certain environmental elements, Mario can literally take control of them. You can become a Goomba to stack up and reach high platforms, a Bullet Bill to rocket across gaps, a Cheep Cheep to explore underwater without worrying about air, or even a massive T-Rex to smash through obstacles. This single mechanic constantly reinvents how you approach each kingdom's challenges, and it's the kind of gameplay twist that feels fresh from start to finish. Odyssey's worlds, called kingdoms, are massive, open spaces filled with secrets. Instead of a small set of big objectives, each kingdom has dozens of power moons scattered everywhere, and you're encouraged to grab them as you find them rather than leaving the level each time. Some moons are out in plain sight, while others are tucked away behind clever puzzles, hidden paths, or platforming gauntlets. There's no rigid mission structure, so you're free to explore at your own pace, chasing whatever catches your eye. The variety in settings is incredible. You'll run through the rolling green hills of the Cascade Kingdom, scale the realistic skyscrapers of New Donk City, explore the deep-sea ruins of the Seaside Kingdom, and bounce through the surreal, candy-colored world of the Luncheon Kingdom. Each one feels distinct in art style, music, and gameplay challenges, and they're packed with tiny details and surprises that reward curiosity. Speaking of music, Odyssey has one of the most memorable soundtracks in the series, blending orchestral swells with jazzy city themes, Latin-inspired rhythms, and even a full-on vocal performance with Jump Up Superstar, the first time a Mario game had a full, sung theme song. That number in particular became an instant fan favorite and is now a staple at Nintendo events. What really sets Odyssey apart, though, is the sheer joy of movement. Mario's moveset here is the most fluid and versatile it's ever been. You can chain jumps, rolls, dives, wall kicks, and cappy throws together in ways that feel almost parkour-like. Skilled players can traverse kingdoms in creative, stylish ways that go far beyond what the game demands. When Super Mario Odyssey launched, it was universally praised for its freedom, creativity, and polish. It's a game that respects your curiosity as a player, constantly rewarding exploration with new discoveries. It's also packed with callbacks to past Mario games, from 8-bit sections that mimic the original Super Mario Bros. To sly references to nearly every major 3D installment. It feels like both a love letter to Mario's past and a bold step into his future. For all those reasons, Super Mario Odyssey easily earns its place at the top of this list. It's not just a great Mario game, it's one of the most joyful, inventive experiences you can have in gaming.